Additional funding was provided by Allied Corporation, an advanced technology company proud to support outstanding science programming on public television. And the Johnson & Johnson family of companies, supplying healthcare products worldwide. A companion book, Nova, Adventures in Science, published by WGBH and the Addison Wesley Publishing Company, is available in libraries and bookstores nationwide.
What's really extraordinary about a program like Nova, it really allowed us to get into the mind of a child prodigy, to see what they go through, to see what life is like for children so extraordinary. I don't know, I wish I could get into your mind and find out what is stopping you from not calling us tonight at 265-1020, 265-1020, and making a pledge. You may think that maybe it won't really make much of a difference, but it does make a difference. There have been many reports of elections being thrown by one vote. One person has won just because they've been able to get that one extra vote. And we need you to vote this morning or this evening by picking up the phone and dialing 265-1020. 265-1020, because it does make a difference. It does make a difference if you call us and make that pledge. There are a lot of different kinds of pledges that you can do. We've been talking about different kinds of plans, different financial arrangements to make it easier for you to make that pledge. And what I'd like to remind you about is the charge plan. If you charge with MasterCard or the Bank of America card, we've got an extra special little premium for you. Not only it's helpful for us because we can get that money immediately, and also we're going to be giving you a special keychain to go along with that pledge. So if you're thinking, maybe I don't have the cash now, I don't have it in my checking account, you can charge it. That's always nice to know that you have that alternative. Here to talk about some other alternatives with us this evening is Craig Dorval. Craig?
And, you know, I was thinking, thanks a lot, Lena, for that toss. I appreciate it. 265-1020. You know, it's really noisy back here when all the phones are ringing, isn't it? You know, there's really a lot of people up here from the Exchange Club of Mission Valley and from Kappa Sigma, as well as some individuals that are volunteering their time this evening to answer the phones, and they're pretty busy right now, and we're very thankful for that. That is just wonderful. You know, I was watching the end of that Nova program, and there was a segment with Lauren Hollander there, especially the close-up on his hands as he was playing the piano. Very interesting way to produce the program. I've met Lauren Hollander a couple of years ago. I met him, very interesting gentleman. But I've always noticed when I watch Nova that it's a very special program. It's almost poetic the way they present scientific topics. It's a very special program indeed, and it comes to you every single week, every Tuesday night here on KPBS television. I watch it a lot, as often as I can. How much is this kind of programming worth to you? Is seeing this programming this particular program in your home every week worth $5 or $10 a month? If it is, give us a call right now, 265-1020. This is a very important juncture, indeed, almost a historic juncture in KPBS television history. Coming up in just a moment, we have the likes of The Who, Janis Joplin, Country Joe and the Fish, Arlo Guthrie on Woodstock. We're going to see a lot of footage that has not been seen in this country before. Elena will have more about that in just a moment. But we're going from Nova, one excellent presentation, into Woodstock. Relived those years in upstate New York, that fabulous concert up there that a lot of us were, I wasn't there, maybe you were, but a lot of us were watching and indeed listening to the soundtrack of. 265-1020, it is your contributions that make this kind of programming possible. It is the contributions of the people who are calling in right now, pledging their financial support to KPBS television that are making this programming possible. 42% of our budget come from people just like you, sitting in their living rooms watching this programming and deciding from time to time to call in and say, yes, it is worth it to me. I want to make a pledge. I want to get the program guide. I want to get some of the premiums. If you can find it in your budget and in your heart to pledge at the $10 a month level, that's $120 for a year. One of the premiums that you might want to choose is the KPBS television beach towel. This is a very interesting beach towel. It's green and dark blue, very interesting design, as you can see. That lets everybody on the beach, on the golf course perhaps, in your home as you run around draped, throw it over your shoulder like a toga, running around your house like a crazy person. They know that you support KPBS television. Now, if you decide not to call, or if you don't decide to call this evening, or if you don't decide to ever join KPBS, the only people who are really going to know are going to be you and your family. Aren't you going to feel a little bit guilty? 265-1020. Call right now. Give us a hand. We'd love to hear you make the phone ring. 265-1020. Let's take a look at our goal real quick. Our goal, 300 new members for KPBS television before this night is out. We now stand at 84. We're getting there. We're probably over 100 by this point. A lot of people, just like you, calling in and saying, yes, I want to support this station. Yes, I want to do it. Hear those phones ring? I can barely hear myself talk back here. It's really great. Lots of great folks. Some other thanks we like to give. Coca-Cola Bottling of San Diego for providing some liquid refreshment for the volunteers for us this evening and throughout this pledge drive. Also, Vincent's Pastry Shop on 2nd Avenue and the Royal Bakery Thrift Store. Thanks so much. As well as all the fine, as I mentioned before, the fine volunteers taking time out of their Tuesday evening when they really like to watch Nova uninterrupted, I'm sure, to answer the phones for us here at KPBS. Thanks a lot, Coca-Cola Bottling of San Diego. 265-1020, the number to call. 265-1020. I'm Craig Dorval. Lena Nazizwe from KFMB is volunteering her time this evening also to bring this message to you, the message of this is not free television. We can do it without commercials, but we can't do it without you. Won't you please call 265-1020.
We've been getting calls from people, according to a volunteer. They're saying, we want Woodstock, we want Woodstock. You'll be getting Woodstock in just a few moments, but we do have to take out this time for this pledge break. And if I haven't been able to inspire you to make that pledge, or if Craig hasn't been just yet, maybe this will do the trick. If you pledge $5 or more per month, you will be able to get this book, The Marvels of Animal Behavior. And from the looks of that kind of behavior, it looks very similar to some of the behavior you'll be seeing tonight on Woodstock. There is some material that may not be quite right for family viewing. Of course, everything in this book certainly is. It's really talking about the birds and bees and crocodiles and whatever. It's a wonderful book, and as I said, it is a premium. But in terms of what's coming up on Woodstock in just a couple of minutes, it does contain some language perhaps and some scenes that you may not want your children to be watching, so please consider yourself warned at this point. Again, Woodstock will be coming. Don't call and say we want Woodstock unless you want to call for us, please, and say we want Woodstock, and we'd also like to pledge $10 a month, $15 a month, or whatever. And again, our number is 265-1020, 265-1020. There are some people who've already taken that pledge. They've gone ahead and picked up the phone and dialed 260-1020. William Whitaker from Chula Vista, he made a pledge of $25. Matthew Clark of Carlsbad made a pledge of $25. Anthony Charon of San Diego made a pledge of $120. He picked up the phone and dialed 265-1020. Thomas Ayers of Palma Valley has pledged $50. Gilbert and Gladys Palace, they've also pledged $60. Again, that number is 265-1020, 265-1020. And Woodstock, as I said, it will be coming on in just a moment or so, so please call us now when you've got the chance at 265-1020. And just to give you a couple of other names that have called, George Goodwin of Oceanside has made a pledge of $25. Again, as I told you, William Whitaker of Chula Vista has made his pledge of $25. Again, please call us at 265-1020, 265-1020. We're taking you back to the 60s with Woodstock. Help us in the...
Presentation of Woodstock is made possible in part with funds provided by this public television station, which depends largely on viewer contributions. Please join with your support. Stay tuned for more of The Who, Sha-Na-Na, Joe Cocker, Country Joe and the Fish, and Arlo Guthrie, here on Woodstock.
Roger Daltrey, Pete Townsend, and The Who. It's hard to know what to say after that, except I wish we could have seen Keith Moon destroy his drum set, perhaps. 265-1020 is the number here. What were you doing back then? That was the summer of 1969, 16 years ago. We're not missing any of this program, by the way. We'll be right back with it in just a moment. 265-1020 is our number here at the station if you want to make a membership pledge. All these great musical groups. Richie Havens.
Yeah.
Richie Havens had sort of a scarcity of teeth, didn't he? I never really quite realized that. Joe Cocker, Crosby, Stills and Nash we heard from. Quite an era. I was in high school. I wasn't quite old enough to be able to journey up to New York State to the Woodstock concert. I remember finding out about it during and afterward. It was hard to be an American and not find out about it. Phones ringing off the hook here at KPBS Television. This is an independent voice, public television is. We are viewer supported. We would very much like to hear from you tonight. If you're not currently a member of public television, now is a very good time to join. If you'd like to support this kind of programming, rest assured it's probably not available anywhere else in the San Diego market. Getting back to our program in just a second, please stay tuned, and while you're waiting, give us a call at 265-1020. We're a tax-supported institution and a viewer-supported institution. The most important part of our budget here, our operating budget, our financial support comes from you, the viewers, sitting at home. People who say, yes, it is worth it to me. I like to have programming coming into my home every day of the year without commercial interruption. And I'm willing to do my part. I like to also get a tax deduction, perhaps. I'd like to use my credit card to join the station. Perhaps I'd like to get a premium. We have lots of nice premiums available at higher levels of membership. I'd like to get a year subscription to our program magazine On Air, which will come to your home every month for a minimum pledge of $25 for a year. There you're getting a shot of it. This is the March issue. Put a tiger in your tank, put a tiger on your tube by joining KPBS Television and KPBS Radio. A fine magazine, all the listings for KPBS Radio and KPBS Television. And crossword puzzle relating to public television comes your way every month. A financial column, goings-on about San Diego. A really fine item. Talk about music, okay? We're watching a program about music. Woodstock. I'm just sitting here with my mouth hanging open in nostalgia as I watch this show, and we're having a great time here in the studio, let me tell you. I'm also having a great time right now. Talking about music, the ringing of the phones is really music to my ears right now. This is just magnificent. Let's take a look at our goal. 300 new members. By the close of business tonight, we've got a couple hours left to go. We'll come to you maybe twice more during Woodstock, 2 or 3 more times. Now stand at 158. That is just magnificent. We're getting closer and closer. We're going to get to this 300. We are going to do it, and we are going to do it with your help. We need you to walk over to your phone. If you can get out of your nostalgic stupor a little bit. I know it's tough because I had trouble walking into the studio here to do this pledge break here. 265-1020. Walk over to your phone, dial that number, make us a pledge, make us real happy. If you can find it in your budget to pledge at the $10 a month level, we have a lot of nice premiums at different levels of membership, but one in particular that we like at the $10 a month level is the KPBS Television Beach Towel. All right, it's dark blue and dark green and white. A very attractive beach towel, quite large there, and obviously you can use it other places on the beach if you golf, perhaps, or maybe if you like to toga out of the shower, that kind of thing. Kind of nice design, huh? $10 a month for a year. $10 a month for a year, you know, that's about, what, about the cost of a daily newspaper, perhaps a little bit less than that. For this kind of programming, isn't it worth it to you? 265-1020. Also, take a look at what else you get. 365 days of programming, 6,500 hours of programming. On-air magazine that I talked about just a moment ago, premiums for higher levels of membership, and the tax deduction. All right, lots of great things. It's quite a value, public television is. We don't need to hear perhaps from everybody in the audience, but I'd like to hear from those of you that appreciate this Woodstock program, this Woodstock documentary. There's a lot of footage in this that has never been shown in this country anywhere before. You're seeing it on KPBS television, public television, right now, tonight. As you sit there, and as you're thinking about this membership break and waiting for us to get back to the program, think about the phone number, 265-1020, and also think about how much this kind of programming is worth to you. 265-1020. Call now. We have lots of great programs coming up for you, well, for all time, but particularly this week, and we're going to talk to you about one of them right now. 265-1020, just a moment. Stand by for that. We'll come up to that in just a second. 265-1020. Call now. Okay, we're going to, coming up later this week, we have a special Best of National Geographic special, and are we going to the tape or not?
That's someone else. Who's that?
Okay, well, we're going to the tape in just a moment. A very special National Geographic tape coming up in just a couple of seconds. Highlights from past shows and more, and here's something about it.
The mysterious, the incredible, the impossible. Scenes of excitement and wonder in a new special. Celebrate National Geographic's 10 years on PBS. I'm Hal Holbrook. Join me for great moments with National Geographic here on this PBS station.
By the way, my name's Craig Dorval, by the way. I work at KPBS Radio. I was passed a note before this break started to say hello to a member of our staff, a very special member of our staff who's probably watching this evening, Doreen Dial. Hi, Doreen. How are you?
Sure.
You were at Woodstock. How many of you watching were at Woodstock? If you were there, why not give us a call and tell us that and make a pledge? 265-1020. Doreen's going to kill me tomorrow, I know. 265-1020. You know, it's interesting watching it and hearing the language and so forth that was happening back in the era in the late 60s. There's been so many changes. People talking about debating whether people with long hair should be called freaks and whether or not that was pejorative or not, or whether that was a bad thing to be called. That kind of stuff, and groovy and dropping acid and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's funny, it just kind of drops away. And hearing it again, it sort of brings back a very special feeling of nostalgia, you know. I just wanted to kind of bring that up and hope that maybe you were feeling the same way. It's just a real special kind of moment watching these shows, and after listening to the album for so many years, you know, the Woodstock 3 record set, realizing that all this actually happened, and geez, it was 16 years ago. Can you believe that? How much older are we? Look how much younger Pete Townsend looked in that picture, and Roger Daltrey and all those folks, and Joan Baez. Lots of great music coming up. The National Geographic program coming up is a special one indeed. It's kind of a best of with lots of the great footage from past years. It's a 10th anniversary program. Lots of great programs come to you every day of the year. And that's what this is about. That's what this particular pledge period is about. This is TV worth watching. It's also TV worth paying for. Lots of volunteers busy here, taking phone calls left and right. People calling in their pledges to the station. We'd like to thank you so much. It means so much to us to hear the response from the people watching Woodstock this evening. I'm enjoying it. I'm glad to hear that you are also. If you charge your membership, we do accept Visa and MasterCard. And if you do that, we have an extra gift in addition to our regular premiums, and that's a keychain, KPBS Radio and KPBS Television keychain. You obviously get the tax deduction. This is tax time. Your contribution tax deductible to the fullest extent of the law. Small confession to make here. I'm having a little trouble hearing myself think with the phone's ringing back here. This is just magnificent. I'm having a great time, and I'm glad you folks are enjoying things so much that you want to call and make a pledge. We know that you're very special people, the kind of people who call in and say, "Oh, by golly, it is worth $5 a month to me. Why not?" And I can have that automatically done. I can have $5 a month automatically transferred from my account to the KPBS account, or I can have $10 a month automatically transferred. If you join at the basic membership level, which is $25 for a year, realize what that translates into in terms of money per day. 7 cents a day. Isn't seeing Woodstock once a year worth $25? I think it is. I think it's great. 265-1020. Call now. Lots of great things. We should do a little pledge cheer here. Give me a C. Give me an A. Give me an L. Give me an L. Give me a now. What's that spell? What's that spell? What's that spell? What's that spell? Wow! Call now, 265-1020. Country Joe and the Fish coming up soon on Woodstock, 265-1020.
Stay tuned for Crosby, Stills and Nash. 10 years after, Country Joe and the Fish and Santana here on Woodstock.
Arlo Guthrie with a classic performance there, obviously. And we heard from Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and from Joe Cocker, getting by with a little help from his friends. And this evening, we're getting by with a little help from our friends here at 265-1020. Two of our friends here in the studio helping to answer the phone right over here. We'll get a camera shot of them in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, the Blues Brothers are with us this evening from Kappa Sigma. 265-1020. Call in. But we're having a great time. I hope you are too at home. We'll be getting right back to this new version of Woodstock. This one, as you can tell, is an edited version of the movie that was released theatrically about, I guess it was 15, 14 years ago, with new footage that's never been seen before. It's getting a little out of control here, too. But, you know, that's okay. Get like that sometimes. 265-1020. Call now. Show your support. The language still fascinates me with this program. You know, I like to refer to the situation in the studio this evening as groovy. Things are beautiful, man. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? I mean, can you dig it? It's really something. This is not a charity here at KPBS Television. What you're doing is really paying for services rendered. This is a broadcast service that comes into your house 365 days a year. Some 6,500 hours of programming, and all we're asking you to do right now is think about the telephone number on your screen and think about how much this programming is worth to you. Is it worth $5 a month for a year? Is it worth $5 a month for a year? Well, if it is, maybe you can switch from the Woodstock knapsack to the tote bag, the KPBS radio and television tote bag. $5 a month for a year, a $60 membership pledge. You can also join using your Visa or MasterCard. You can see that tote bag is an attractive cream and burgundy color. Lets everybody know that you're a supporter of KPBS public broadcasting. It's a good way to haul around a lot of stuff. It's got a lot of room inside, too. 265-1020. Call now. Show your support. Some people that have called in include some of these. We've heard from a lot of people who actually were at Woodstock, by the way. If you were at Woodstock and you pledge money, we'll say your name on the air. 265-1020. Some of the people who have called in, not all of them were at Woodstock. Some of them say they were, but they really weren't. Gary Frost called in from Del Mar. Nan Guerin called in from Chula Vista, California this morning. Kathy Loader called in. Thanks a lot for your membership pledge. Robert Novellm, I guess that is, of San Diego, called in. Membership pledge. David and Debbie Claycomb, thanks so much. Carolyn Sessa called in from Crestline. Called from Crestline. Adam Mindell of San Diego called with a pledge of membership support. Jennifer Rose, thank you so much. These are wonderful folks. Lynn Acosta called in from San Diego. Janice Parsons from Escondido, from La Jolla. Laurie Salves. Join these very special people who have said, yes, this programming, this kind of programming is worth it to me. I'd like to do my part to help support public broadcasting in San Diego. I'd also like to get the tax deduction. I'd like to get On-Air magazine for a year. I'd like to consider a premium such as the tote bag we saw a moment ago, or perhaps another one at higher levels of membership. If you join using the KPBS checks plan, $5 or $10 a month can be transferred automatically from your account to ours. It's really a very inexpensive way to do it, a good bargain in the broadcasting business, we think. Let's take a real quick look at where we are. We are in 1985, not 1969, remember that. But our goal for the evening is 300 new members, and we now stand at 216 new members. You know, it's real gratifying during this Woodstock program to see so many people joining public broadcasting for the first time. If this is something that you've thought about and never really considered, why not cast a vote for this kind of programming, that appeals to you? And call us right now with your pledge of membership support at 265-1020. 42% of our financial support, of our operating budget, comes directly from you, our viewers, and the listeners to KPBS Radio. 42%, that's the biggest single source of our financial support, is contributions from you, the viewers. I think that's real special, you know, that you can call up and say, this kind of programming is worth some money to me, and I'd like to call and pledge my membership support. There's a look at it in graphic terms. You can see that we do get about 16% of our budget from the federal government. SDSU gives us 23%, but the largest portion by far from your membership, from people like you sitting in their living rooms and saying, oh, by gosh, I need the tax deduction, and gee, they're going to give me the program guide, and they're going to give me some premiums maybe. I'm going to join. I'm going to get up out of my chair right now, and I'm going to call that number, 265-1020, and on top of that, I am loving Woodstock. I am just eating it up. It is just great, and I want to see more of it. And will that guy please get off the tube so we can get back to him? Well, I'll be getting off in just a couple minutes, okay? We found that this is really the only effective way to raise money for us, so we're going to be here just a couple more minutes. You're not missing any of this new edited version of the movie. As I mentioned before, there's new footage added in, and just a few pieces have been taken out. But there's some musical acts in here that have never been seen by general audiences on film before. Our programs particularly programs like this, are quite expensive. You know, we have to go through a buying process, which is just starting to get underway now for the new fall season. Your pledge of membership support is especially crucial right now, is very important right now, because we're going through this program buying process. 265-1020. It's very important for you to give us a call and give us a vote. If you can find it in your budget to pledge at the $10 a month level, $10 a month for a year, that's the $120 membership level, the KPBS television beach towel can be yours. It's a green and blue beach towel. There, you see it. It's really pretty attractive, I think. You can use it on the beach. As we've been saying, you can use it around the house. It lets folks know that you support this medium of public broadcasting, KPBS public broadcasting in San Diego. And boy, I'm telling you this, I'm enjoying the great music of Joe Cocker and Arlo Guthrie and The Who and Crosby, Stills and Nash this evening, but I'm really getting off on all the people calling in. I think that's great. And the Blues Brothers have no time for entertainment. They're over here answering the phone. So 265, that's great. 265-1020. Call now. Show your support. We have lots of great programs coming up for you during this festival week, these festival weeks here on KPBS television. TV worth watching is TV worth paying for. That's our slogan. One of the programs that's coming up is called In the Kingdom of the Dolphins. It's a very special program indeed. We're going to see a little tape about that in just a moment. 265-1020. Call the number and watch this.
Man's fascination with dolphins spans recorded history. Their sleek form, grace, and advanced method of communication have raised many questions. It is only recently that we have ventured into their realm to seek the answers. In the Kingdom of the Dolphins. Don't miss this extraordinary encounter in the Kingdom of the Dolphins.
We think this is TV worth paying for, and we also like to have your vote of support. We like to hear the phones ring and have you making your membership pledges. That's what this is all about. It's really very gratifying to be able to come before the cameras, as we do 3 times a year, and just put out the simple message. Look, this is viewer-supported television here. The biggest source of our support is you, the viewers sitting at home, each one of you as you sit in your living room. It's very important to us. And then to have this kind of response, real gratifying. As I mentioned before, we're more than 2/3 of our way toward the goal of 300 new members this evening. We can make that goal. We will make that goal, and we'll make it with your help as you walk to the phone and as you dial 265-1020. A moment ago, I read a whole bunch of names of people who have made that pledge, called in their pledge to KPBS television and said, yes, it is worth it to me. It is worth $5 a month or $10 a month or $25 for a year. Why don't you join them? I'd like to challenge you right now. I'd like to challenge those of you especially who have more than, have more than one Joan Baez album in your collection. How about that? If you have a Joan Baez, an Arlo Guthrie album, and a Joe Cocker album in your record collection, I want you to call right now and make a membership pledge. 265-1020. I have a better idea. $5 for every Arlo Guthrie album you have on your shelf, okay? $5. How about that? How about $25 a year if you own the Woodstock album? How about that? 265-1020. We're going back to the Woodstock movie in just a couple of seconds. Stay tuned. We're waiting here for your calls. 265-1020. We have a lot of very energetic Kappa Sigs here taking phone calls, and they'd like to hear from you right now. 265-1020. We hear the phones ring. We'd like to hear you make the phones ring. Get a year subscription to our program magazine On Air, all the program listings for the KPBS radio service, the KPBS television service, and you can get a tax deduction. As I mentioned before, you can use your Visa or MasterCard if that's an easier way to do it. You can join $5 or $10 a month for a year or more. Lots of premiums available at higher levels of membership. A great deal. Don't pass it up. 265-1020. Lots of great music coming up from Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and lots of other great groups. Stay tuned. I think Country Joe and the Fish is coming back too. Stay tuned, folks. 265-1020. Thanks a lot.
Stay tuned for the finale of Woodstock with Sly and the Family Stone and the immortal Jimi Hendrix.
Don't touch that dial. Jimi Hendrix coming up. Santana we just heard from, and 10 years after burning up the stage a little bit earlier. That's a memorable moment from 1969. The Woodstock Festival, probably one of the major cultural events of the 1960s. It seems a little bit strange to us now that that is indeed a major cultural happening, and that's the way we view it now. But indeed it is, and as you watch this, you can see that this is almost an anthropological document in a way of the way America was in the 1960s, the late 1960s, indeed the way a large part of America was. This was the largest peacetime gathering in the history of America up to that time. There was variously estimated between 200 and 500,000 people around the village of Woodstock, New York. And what you're seeing is a documentary movie, which was originally produced not too long after that festival. And this is an edited version, and new footage has been added in. Some of this footage has never been seen before in this country, including, I believe, some of the Jimi Hendrix we're about to see. I'm not sure about that, but I think that's the case. What we are about right now is viewer support. This is a viewer-supported station. Those of you who are at home and have perhaps been watching KPBS television a good bit over the years realize that this is indeed a viewer-supported station, but there might be some of you watching right now who don't know that. And so I just want to tell you that if you make a contribution by calling 265-1020, it is tax deductible. And if you contribute at least $25, you get a year subscription to our program magazine On Air. If you pledge at higher levels of membership, for example, $60 or $120, $5 a month for a year, $120, $10 a month for a year, or $120 a month for a year, what the heck? Peace. 265-1020. You pledge at any level of membership you wish. At $5 a month for a year, we have a very special premium available for you. It's the KPBS tote bag. It's burgundy and cream color tote bag, KPBS radio and television. And there you see it on your screen at home. $5 a month for a year. And again, in addition to the knowledge that you've done your part to support this programming and the tax deduction and the program guide, you get that nice tote bag. And it's only $5 a month. That's automatically transferred from your account to ours. Right? Nothing to it. 265-1020. We're getting ready for the finale of Woodstock coming up with Sly and the Family Stone and Jimi Hendrix. Be sure to stay with us for that. You certainly wouldn't want to miss the end of this. I'm not going to miss it. I'm going to be glued to the set to the very end. 265-1020. If you pledge at the $10 a month level, there's another premium available, and it is, as we've shown you before, the KPBS television beach towel. There you sit, blue and green. Again, it's a cotton terry cloth towel, and it's suitable for all occasions where a large towel is required. 265-1020. That's $120 for a year. If you charge your membership on Visa or MasterCard, you can do that, and we have another gift in addition to all those things, a KPBS radio and television keychain. Nice little device for keeping your keys on. There's your old Visa and your old MasterCard, perhaps. And there's the keychain. How about that? Director Don Johnson is just doing a heck of a job, isn't he? Thanks, Don. 265-1020. A lot of folks volunteering their time with us this evening. We have the Exchange Club of Mission Valley has been helping us out as volunteers on the phones this morning, and Kappa Sigma, and some individuals who've been putting up with a certain amount of mayhem here in the studio. I must say that certain parts of the studio sort of resemble Woodstock after the festival is over. You remember that? They had all those stories about all the trash that had to be cleaned up and so forth. Some of it's kind of a mess, quite frankly, but that's okay. We're also getting a lot of calls of support. And indeed, let's take a look at our goal real quick. We had a goal of 300 new members by the end of the day, and we're almost at the end of the day. We're just a couple of minutes away. We were at 262 at the start of this break, and I think we're almost there. We're just about there, and we can get to that 300 mark. We will get to that 300 mark with your help. 265-1020, 265-1020. Well, we have somebody, this is sort of symbolic. You remember the story at Woodstock? As a matter of fact, I think it was on the album. It was part of the soundtrack. Somebody having a baby at the fair. Well, somebody has a brand new baby by the name of Becky Ann, and they're making their membership, I guess, in the name of their new baby, David Foreman. Congratulations, and thanks a lot for your contribution. We have other new members of the KPBS stations. I challenge you to join these very special people who have taken a couple of minutes out of their Woodstock nostalgia, their misty-eyed nostalgia, watching this show, to call and say, you know, I'd like to make a pledge. I've kind of thought about it, but this program is what really pushes me over the top. I really just think now's the time. Some of the nice folks we're talking about here from La Mesa, Cindy Vanderhoff. Frank Merlin called in and said, I'd like to make a pledge to public broadcasting. Ben Reeves called in from Escondido, from all areas of San Diego County. The old voices feeling it here. From El Cajon, Michael Long called in. Thanks a lot, Michael. Brian Foster from Chula Vista. Quite a geographic spread here. From Rancho Peñasquitos, it looks like, Pamela Walden called in to pledge her membership support. From Imperial, Tom Mazerol. Now, that's they're seeing us on the cable system over in Imperial, California. That's just excellent. Also from El Cajon, a band called in, the Friends of Ghost, with a membership pledge. Thanks a lot for that. And Elena Shapira called in, talking about cable systems for a moment. If you do see us on cable channel 12 here in the San Diego area, for example, on Cox or Southwest, or if you see us on a cable system outside of the San Diego County area, realize that the fee that you pay to the cable system, none of that fee comes to KPBS. None of it does. We rely totally on direct viewer contributions to this television station. If you haven't done that yet, if you've considered it, thought about it, haven't done it yet, now is the time. Just about a minute left before we go back to the Woodstock Festival, this special broadcast that's not being seen anywhere else in San Diego. This kind of alternative programming, isn't it worth it to you? Perhaps advertisers wouldn't want to buy into this kind of programming, and that's why we're presenting it here on public television. Isn't it worth something to you? 7 cents a day at the basic membership level, perhaps. That's what $25 a year comes out to. $5 a month, perhaps. Lots of nice premiums at that level. $10 a month. You can use your Visa or MasterCard if you want. Very easy, nothing to it. You can send us a check. All you got to do is call in. The volunteers, a lot of them from Kappa Sigma, and the Exchange Club of Mission Valley will take your name and phone number, the amount you wish to pledge, your address, and we'll send out membership material to you in the mail. Nothing to it. Again, you get our programming, the tax deduction, on-air magazine, and the knowledge that you're doing your part to give us a hand, to give us a boost, to support public broadcasting. It's very important that you do it right now. We'd like to hear your vote. If you've been thinking about casting a vote for this Woodstock Festival on KPBS television, you've got to do it now. Time is running out. 265-1020. We would like to hear from you. I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear you make the phone ring. I hear a lot of people on the phone. There are some phones that aren't busy. Call now. Show your support. 265-1020. A quick thank you to, once more, Coca-Cola Bottling of San Diego and Vincent's Pastry Shop on 2nd Avenue for cookies this evening. The Royal Bakery Thrift Store also provided us with some baked goods this evening. It's nice to have some tasty refreshments for volunteers, and indeed, when we staff can sneak a few, we do that too. Thanks a lot, Coca-Cola Bottling of San Diego. KPBS TV San Diego salutes Coca-Cola Bottling of San Diego also. 265-1020. Keep that number in mind. The volunteers will be here for a little while after we go back to the Woodstock Music and Arts Fair. If you'd like to call then, I'd like to make another challenge. I'd like to make a challenge that you pledge $1 for every time you've listened to your Woodstock album. How about that? If you've listened to it 5,000 times, well, maybe that's a bit much. Right. Maybe 50 times. How about that? Call in, pledge any amount you can afford. 265-1020. We're glad to hear from you. Thanks a lot, San Diego, for giving your vote of approval to this kind of programming on KPBS television. Thanks a lot, and good night. Peace.
Be with us tomorrow on KPBS at 9:30 for Gourmet Cooking. At 10:30, it's acclaimed painter Barclay Sheeks painting lowlands on acrylic painting with Barclay Sheeks. At 12:30, host Ira Flato answers viewers' science questions on Newton's apple. See the classic film adaptation of Charles Dickens' novel Oliver Twist, starring Alec Guinness, at 1 o'clock. At 5:30, Understanding Human Behavior takes a look at stress. Take a look at the historical development of Hong Kong and how decisions made more than a century ago are still affecting life there on In the Mouth of the Dragon at 6 o'clock. At 8, join Great Moments with the National Geographic, a retrospective hosted by Hal Holbrook, including highlights of past specials, previously unseen footage, and updates shot specially for this 10th anniversary special. And finish your day with 2 hours of discussion of loving relationships and love talk with Leo Biscaglia, our resident love doctor, beginning at 10 o'clock.
Come explore the worlds of the National Geographic specials. For 10 years made possible by a grant from Gulf Oil, now part of Chevron Corporation. Join us as the journey continues. Major funding for this 10th anniversary National Geographic Society special has been provided by this and other public television stations.
Tonight we celebrate an anniversary, 10 years of National Geographic specials on public television. Among them, some of PBS's most popular programs. In creating 40-hour-long documentaries, our camera teams traveled all over the world and exposed more than 2 million feet of film. Tonight, some highlights of an exciting and fruitful decade. For so many of us, that was a treasured and gripping memory. And there are more great moments coming up. Encounters with whales and sharks, pandas and tigers, and more. You know, without your support, there would be no public television and no place for programs like The Incredible Machine and other beautiful and astounding National Geographic specials. Now, here's someone from your community to tell you how you can help.
It's all a very simple procedure. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call 265-1020. There are operators here with you, and I kind of had a feeling coming out of that last night. I cheated. I did see this Wednesday evening when it was presented for the first time, but I'll tell you, I did in those closing scenes there have an effect on me that I started to cry at home and cry for joy over what a wonderful and blessed thing that was, that the girl was able to finally hear and enjoy sound for the first time. And I think sometimes we'll take the time to say how blessed we've been in our lives, that we have an opportunity to have a station like this that will enlarge our view of the world, that if we would call 265-1020 right now, we can add to the value of our community, to the value of our lives, our kids' lives, those around us here in San Diego. And KPB is the instrument which brings those kinds of programs to us. 265-1020 is the number to call. Now, I'd remind you here this afternoon that we've kind of come here with the operators from the El Cajon Youth Council here, who are here to answer the phones, that we went into this session here with a goal that we had to get 220 calls here to stay at our member of level support here that kind of would sustain the station and the kinds of programming we do. Now, coming into this break, we had 105 calls, I believe. So we are counting on you, and that's the kind of thing that this is TV worth watching, is TV worth supporting, and it's kind of built on a special faith, a faith and a belief that we in San Diego are the community, we're the people who represent the station. The way we make this station work is 265-1020. You have to pick up the phone and call now. And I'd remind you that for certain premiums, for certain support levels, for instance, like at $10 a month, we have a very interesting book from the Nova series that we will send as a premium to you at home. There you have a look at this, and this fine volume here can be yours at a membership level of $10 a month. And for all the hours that I know in my household that we spend watching KPBS here and the wonderful science programs like the National Geographic special that we'll continue here in a moment, it's certainly worth supporting the station and calling in for premiums like that. 265-1020, once again, is the number. Craig?
Thank you, Mike. You know, this program is brought to you now with an interruption. This interruption is a pledge break. It's in the form of a pledge break, and what we're asking you to do is simply go to the phone and pledge your support for KPBS by dialing 265-1020. It may seem during these pledge periods that we're here quite a bit, but if you look at it through a breakdown of an entire year, 1.5% of our programming is spent here in front of the cameras trying to induce you to call the number. The rest of that time, the other 98.5%, is spent on programming. No commercials, just programming. That's why we need you to call now. We only take this 1.5% of the time, but we feel it's an important time. Compare that to commercial television, where over 20% of their time is spent with commercials. That's earning the money to present the programs. So if you compare and contrast commercial and public broadcasting, we're spending just a minute time of our broadcast day supporting ourselves, whereas commercial stations are spending a good deal of their time doing the same. And a program like the National Geographic Special, a program that is far too costly to be run on commercial television. But because public television is a cooperative with stations and people throughout the country, combining their sources together, we are able to bring you fine programs like the National Geographic Special. You won't see that on commercial television. It's just far too costly, and it's not a cost-effective program. Commercial operators know that you like to see that type of program, but because they can't make a bundle of money off of a program like that because it's so expensive, they won't bring it to you. But we know you like to see it, and the only way we can continue to have programming like that is by people like you calling now at 265-1020. Some people may need a little extra push. Well, I have an extra push right now that may induce you to join KPBS at the $60 a year level or $5 a month. It's the KPBS tote bag. If you can pledge at the $60 a month, or $60 a year, excuse me, or $5 a month, and you can do that on your checks, KPBS checks plan, or your Visa or MasterCard, you'll get the tote bag. It's a durable thing, and it's got a waterproof section in here, so you can hold your lunch or whatever. And then it's got a snap compartment which can hold a variety of things. It's a fairly thick tote bag, and it lets the people in the community know that you are a supporting member of public broadcasting in San Diego, which is the most important thing. The money that goes to support the production of local programming and the purchasing of national programming. That's why we need your support. 265-1020 is the number you need to call, and we'd like to be hearing from our supporters. That's you. Make the phone ring now, 265-1020. Here's Mike with some more.
265-1020 is the number to call, and I would kind of like to dwell for one moment when we see the impact of 10 years of National Geographic specials, which have been made possible here in San Diego through KPBS TV. 265-1020 is the number to call, and the operators are here, and we're hopeful that you too will join us in pledging support. And stop for a moment and consider 10 years worth of specials now have been brought to you here in San Diego, and I've enjoyed them, and I'm sure that you have too, and that's the reason you're watching. And it's up to you now, in your good faith here, to pick up the phone, 265-1020, to continue that here in the San Diego community. Now, what if there weren't our membership-supported public television that belongs to you and I here in San Diego, and instead of down there on the cable channel or channel 12 or 15, wherever it may be located there, what if that station wasn't there? What if it was just another commercial station that said, oh, News 11 will have film of the car wreck, and somebody came on and then tried to sell us more cars, and we got 6 minutes of that every half hour of our lives? Don't we have a choice here? And the choice we have to make is whether we sit there at home and just kind of ignore this, or take into account the impact on our lives, the meaning and value that public broadcasting has, and say, look, for $25 as a basic membership level, I'll pick up my phone, dial 265-1020, and make an effort here, and make KPBS the strongest station, make its presence felt. Give me this alternative. Later on this evening, we get another part of Jewel in the Crown that a lot of people enjoy. Truly outstanding dramatic programs, nature programs that we need here in San Diego as a viable alternative here to expand our lives, grow with the world around us. 265-1020. Craig?
All right, thank you, Mike. For those of you people who may be watching in the outlying areas, and I'm speaking mainly of people in the Imperial Valley, Brawley, El Centro, Calexico, you folks, if you're out there watching, your cable service bill does not pay for public broadcasting. Now, we don't receive any of the money that you pay for your cable service. That goes for people that are on Southwestern and Cox Cable as well. Your cable bill does nothing for public broadcasting. It's your support now by dialing 265-1020 that provides the much-needed money that we need to present the fine programs like the one that you're in the middle of watching now, the Great Moments with National Geographic. We mentioned the goal before, and we do have a goal of 220 members, and it looks fairly good. Like we're going to hit that goal by the end of 7 p.m. this evening. As you can see, we're just a mere 60 away from that goal, and perhaps we'll do it in this break. But even if we do meet our goal, that is still not going far enough. We set those goals on what we honestly believe we can achieve during this time period. The more money we get, the more fine programming we can present for you and produce for you on a local level. So do call the number 265-1020. I also want to mention a book that we have that's on my left over here, and it is the Macmillan Illustrated Animal Encyclopedia. It's an incredible book. Let me just turn it here, and hopefully it's not going to flare all over the place for you, but you can see that's a relatively thick volume, and it's a visual who's who of all the world's creatures. And it's not done by description. There's a picture, and it explains a little bit about each of the animals. And I believe that, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that's a $10 or $120 a month level pledge to KPBS. 20 a month, though that's $240 a year. That'd be $20 a month on your Visa card or on the KPBS checks plan. And I just wanted you to see that because I was paging through it before we came on here, and it's an extraordinary piece of work. And if you can afford the $20 a month level, the Macmillan's Illustrated Animal Encyclopedia can be yours as an inducement to contribute to KPBS on a higher level if you're so able. And also, again, public broadcasting in San Diego does need your support. We've got some fine programs coming your way this evening. Also, with any pledge of $25 or more, the on-air guide will come your way. And it'll come to your home each and every month. It's a detailed day-by-day listing of what's on public television and public radio. Plus, it features articles about happenings in the community as well as some in-depth articles on programming to KPBS. So, if that will entice you to call, the program guide will be sent to your home each month. So if that's what it takes, call now, 265-1020. We can't do it without you. We need your support, and we need it now. The figures that we've seen tell us that if you don't call now, chances are you're not going to. So stand up, call the number 265-1020, and now we're going to go back to the program, so stick with us.
Next, we'll take you to Africa for scenes of great power and beauty. And you'll meet a couple of photographers that make those wonderful pictures when Great Moments with National Geographic continues. Right now, your local public television station needs your support.
Now, doesn't that beat That's Incredible or one of those programs? I mean, there was a stunt that you won't see anywhere else. A scary bit of footage there from National Geographic special. It's programs like these that make public television so special. And you can consider yourself special if you can call now with a membership pledge at 265-1020. The phone calls that we are receiving, we consider basically votes for programming. If you'd like to vote for a program and to see a program like National Geographic continue, we need to be hearing from you now. Cast your vote. Decide to become a member and decide now, 265-1020. It's an important time of year for KPBS because now is the time when we are spending our dollars for programming for the upcoming year. And right now, it's a critical drive because the amount of money that we make during this particular membership drive determines the type and quality of programming that we are able to purchase for the upcoming year. So show your support for public broadcasting in San Diego. Cast your vote by calling 265-1020. You know, it's oh so important that you do so. And as I've mentioned before, the figures show that if you are thinking about it and you don't do it now, chances are you're not going to. So move to the phone now, show your support for public broadcasting, and call 265-1020. Mike?
If you take a look there, you can see our board behind us. There, we went into today's programming, and people who are far brighter than I somehow mathematically figured out that the goal there was 220 calls, and we've gotten 226 memberships or upgraded memberships so far. And that kind of took us to our goal here at this point. But I think those of you who have stayed with us here and watched through the National Geographic special know that there is something special about San Diego, know something special about public broadcasting, something special about KPBS TV. Now, we've had a chance in this community, and I don't work for the station, but I have, working within the media, seen the excellent quality of work done by the station here to say that this is an opportunity for us now within this next hour period here and during this break to say, look, we just aren't going to stop at being another station. There's a study done recently, I think we were all outraged, where we saw that Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania was supposedly the best place to live in the country. Well, one of the reasons why is you see how many times at the end of these stations, or the programs there, they show in the credits that WQED was involved out of Pittsburgh. Well, one of the ways we can make San Diego better, this station better, public broadcasting in general better, is to call 265-1020. And let's think of it this way. Every pledge, everyone who's willing to take the initiative to get up at home right now, pick up the phone and call in, is going to make this station and our town something special. So if we want to see us on top of those kinds of lists around the country, by the membership level support, the money's available to make this the best station possible. 265-1020 is the place to call. And one of the things I'd like to show you as an inducement to calling is The Living Planet, which is a book here by the series that David Attenborough has on currently that's running on. I think I watched the last one. It was about the deserts. And I would sing song and punctuate my delivery as he does, but I'm sure I couldn't do it near as well. So I'd simply remind you, 265-1020 is the place to call. This is a chance to do something special, make San Diego stronger, to make this station stronger. Call 265-1020 right now. Craig?
All right, thank you, Mike. You know, there's a staggering figure when you consider that only 17% of regular viewers of public television are contributing members. But the more staggering figure is that 83% of the regular viewers are not. If you turn those figures around, consider that 83% of the people out there right now watching this program are not members of this station. We need to increase that percentage, or decrease that percentage. We need to increase the percentage of people who are members, who are regular viewers, people like you. If you have yet to become a member of the KPBS stations, or perhaps your membership is just about to run out, now would be a perfect time to renew your membership. Perhaps your membership's not out until April, say, but now is a good time to renew that membership, because it's oh so important when we're making those critical programming decisions for the upcoming year. So make that move to the phone now, 265-1020. Perhaps if you're able at the $240 a year level, or $20 a month rather, if you're able to donate to KPBS at that level, we have a very interesting book for you. It's the Macmillan's Encyclopedia, or it's the Animal Encyclopedia rather. It's an interesting book, and it's done visually. So you can get an idea of what the animal looks like and then read about it, what it is, what its name is. It takes a more simplistic view of how to find the animal you're interested in, but then goes into quite some detail on the animals themselves. It's an interesting volume, and that's available to you if you'll just pick up your phone and dial it now at 265-1020. And if there are a few of you out there that can donate at that $240 a year level, we definitely would like to be hearing from you. We've worked out some figures, and I believe that at the $25 a year level, that works out to be about 7 cents a day. Isn't public television worth 7 cents a day? If you have children, isn't the children's programming, isn't Sesame Street even once a day worth 7 cents a day? That program comes your way every day, 365 days a year. And we have programs like Nova, the National Geographic special. This is just looking back at the last 10 years. Let's make that program go on for another 10. It's people like you in San Diego and around the country that make programs like National Geographic possible. You make it possible by dialing the number you see on your screen, 265-1020. As you noticed before on the goal board, you saw that we have 226 current pledges during this afternoon. We were shooting for 220. You know what that means? That means we've surpassed our goal that we wanted to achieve by 7 p.m. this evening. It also means that all those dollars that are coming in above that goal is going to improve your public television station. That means we'll be able to buy finer programs than we had anticipated being able to buy. It means we'll be able to produce more enticing local programming, something that we feel is very, very important to the community of San Diego, America's finest city. If you believe in public television, I believe it's time for you to go to the phone now and call 265-1020. Mike?
Thank you, Craig. And before we go to Mr. Attenborough's series here, which is coming up the next few moments, we'd remind you again, we have certain inducements here to make it pleasant to kind of send in your contribution by calling 265-1020. And one of the kind of little support mechanisms that inducement we'd like you to use is that there's a keychain available. And this keychain is available if you'll use your MasterCard or Visa, a pledge of $25 or more, and we'll give you this little kind of engraved KPBS key ring for you to use and keep everything organized around the house there, so that you'll send it in that way, and the station will get the money that much quicker, and we won't have to wait and listen to the old maybe checks in the mail kind of problem. The question right now, though, is whether you can say, or I can find the right words to say to you, that it is important that you call. Now, we did mention that we set goals going into these things, but the goals are kind of for projections over the year, and maybe one night you'll reach it, and maybe one night you won't. So what I want to say is that it's very, very important that if you're watching right now, and you have found that KPBS has been a vital part of San Diego, if you want San Diego to be thought of, if I make the analogy once again, with Pittsburgh, which is a better place to live, then certainly public broadcasting and the entertainment value of things like Later Tonight are coming up, The Jewel in the Crown. There's a special to remind you that it is St. Patrick's Day, and that's why I'm wearing such a drab suit here, because as you know, everyone who's Irish dresses drab, and we've got little village caps to go on the top of our head. But the way to support this town, 265-1020, and we can go from that to this marvelous nature kind of series. Now, the series is coming up here with David Attenborough in just a moment, and there is a premium which is available also for a $10 a month level that comes along with that. And there's a book from David Attenborough's series that's available, and that's available at a premium level then of $10 per month. And we, of course, have a whole list of things that are available. There are records from Sesame Street. There are things for the grandkids that you could send in. There's a panda bear. There's a number of things that you could take the opportunity to do something meaningful for San Diego here by calling 265-1020. Then, in a way of saying we appreciate what you did and we want to thank you, take advantage of the premium of your choice. We're going to send that information out to you when you call in and talk to one of the operators here from the El Cajon Civic Youth Group who's with us today answering these phones. And then you can pick, maybe you want some for the grandkids, for your kids, some for your wife or one of your interests that way, that you can have a book that's a premium that will be with you. We'll, of course, send the on-air listing, which is a complete rundown of programmings that are on the air here. But we're going to go now to our next program. The point is that we're here and breaking down just for one moment, so that you'll call 265-1020. Craig?
Just want to correct you for a second, Mike. We're still in the midst of great moments with National Geographic, and we will indeed be going back to that program. Mike has been anticipating the program coming up with Dr. David Attenborough, which is The Living Planet, a Portrait of the Earth. And that program is indeed coming up. That will be 1 hour from now at 7 p.m. And it's exciting programming all evening tonight on KPBS. No reason to change your dial, but there is a reason for you to call, 265-1020.
Coming up, more great animal scenes. Pandas, kangaroos, polar bears, tigers, and other wonders you've seen on the spectacular National Geographic specials. But first, here's more information on how you can be a part of public television.
265-1020, after that very important kind of reminisce. There are 10 years of National Geographic, and I remind you that over those 10 years, I'm sure a lot of them have been seen right here on KPBS by you, and that's the reason, the number one reason to call 265-1020, is that if you're watching the station, this is the way you keep those kinds of programs on. And when you call now, and then when Brad Warner at the end of the year, who's the programming director, takes a look and says, what kind of membership support do we get from the different kinds of programs we ran, he takes a look and he says, wait a minute, National Geographic is a super programming, so we want to take part of our money there and pay once again into the kitty nationally that all kind of goes together that enables that kind of programming to be made and then to be shown on KPBS. 265-1020 is that number, and that's what we're here for this afternoon, to encourage you for excellence here in San Diego. That's what we're trying to achieve. We don't want to just be another station. We want to make San Diego the best possible place to live. And as part of that, KPBS is the place to be. So 265-1020 is the number. Now, I want to remind you that we looked at our goals here. Coming into this break, we said we needed 220 memberships, new memberships or upgraded memberships, and that we reached 226. So if you think you're absolved, though, and say, wait a minute, they've got all the money they need, I remind you it does average out. Sometimes we don't reach that. And for another very important reason, Do you want to be excellent? Do we want to move ahead? Do we want to be the best station? Do we want to have specials produced about the old globe and certain aspects of San Diego life here that are so important? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get above the basic current level, and let's really make this kind of a super place to be. 265-1020 is the number, and if you look here for a moment, there's a kind of little premium that we have. This is an inducement to see if we get you to kind of join at this moment. And one of the ways is that if you'll join at a $10 a month membership level, this book will be made available to you. Now, you can still join at that kind of level. You'll enjoy still the tax benefits for giving a donation, and certainly we all know with the tax man cometh here very soon in the next month, we can certainly enjoy that at the end of the year. Plus, you'll get the on-air magazine guide and all the other privileges of membership that go with it. So I would encourage you that you alone at home know how many hours of programming you've seen here on KPBS. You alone know how much that it's meant in your life and expanded your windows and horizons here. And it's up to you to say, I want it. I want to come here right now. I'm going to pick up the phone, call 265-1020, and give that money that KPBS needs to become really a factor here in our community. Craig?
Thank you, Mike. And if we can get a shot of our goal board, it has been updated since Mike went on the air with. And these are the total of the pledges we received before the last break. And if we can lose the phone number there, you'll see that our goal was 220. My God, look at that. 302 new members to KPBS this afternoon. Is that incredible? Great response from America's finest city. And we at Public Television here, KPBS, thank you very, very much for that support. But we can use some more. You know, going over the total just means that we'll be able to bring you even finer quality programming in the future. And if you can now, go to the phone and dial 265-1020. And I can also thank a group of people behind me here who have been answering phones for us throughout the afternoon. They are the members of the El Cajon Youth Council, a very fine group of young people, and they've spent their afternoon here with us to provide us with more phones so that you might call 265-1020. We have a book also that is available to you. Perhaps you can't afford the $10 a month level, but if you can afford $5 a month, perhaps we can entice you to join with The Marvels of Animal Behavior. It's an excellent book, and it is quite a healthy-sized volume of different animal behaviors. And if you're enjoying this National Geographic special, I know that you will enjoy this for $5 a month or $60 a year. Let me reach in and so you can see some of the text and some of the photographs that are available here. We had dolphin shows on earlier, and I believe somewhere in here is the massive penguin shot. Some beautifully photographed pictures and some interesting texts. And the the marvels rather of animal behavior can be yours at a $5 a month or $60 per year contribution to KPBS. And by the way, you can do that on the KPBS checks plan for a $60 donation. And what the KPBS checks plan is simply an electronic transfer from your checking account to the account of KPBS. And it saves us a lot of time and energy, and it provides more of your money, and it ensures more of your money is going towards programming. And there you can see some of the benefits of the KPBS checks plan. An excellent way to become a member of KPBS, or if you can, your Visa or MasterCard is a good way to do that, and we'll give you a key ring to say thank you for that. So the KPBS checks plan or your Visa or MasterCard, those are quick ways that will provide KPBS with a little bit more money for your pledge. Instead of spending some of that money sending out mailings and the like, those two methods will make sure that all of that money goes in for programming and production of local programming here at KPBS. Also would like to mention a special program, and if I show you the on-air guide here and put it up before me, you can see that the cover, as I get it out of the lights there, has got a big tiger on it, and that's featuring a program called The Land of the Tiger, and I believe we have some video to show you that'll tell you a little bit more about that program. So let's take a look together at The Land of the Tiger.
The wild animals of India's jungles are haunted by a stealthy, hidden menace. This is Richard Kiley. Join me for a rare encounter with one of the most awe-inspiring predators of the animal kingdom in Land of the Tiger, our next National Geographic special.
That's tomorrow night at 8 o'clock that will play. And if we call National Geographic, I believe last episode here on St. Patrick's Day, it was about the horses of Ireland and the greening of Ireland there and the limestone in the soil and all those explanations. And I'm sure that program will be just as interesting of the tiger, its role, its function, and how it exists in India in the struggle with society today. Now, that's just one example of kind of nature programming that we have here. And at the conclusion of this program, we will have another one by Mr. Attenborough and his series. But there's such a diversity of programming that's available here. If you start with the kids in the morning when they can watch Sesame Street and Wonderworks and the other children's programming, then there's all the drama series. Later tonight, there will be another piece in the Jewel and the Crown episode that is going on. 265-1020 is the number to call for all those kinds of programmings throughout the year. 6,500 hours are produced here in KPBS, and I tell you, the money is well spent. Sometimes you can look around and say, well, there's a certain group of people, or maybe they're living off the public trough or something, that they've gotten fat and rich and lazy, and I can assure you that the most cost-effective way we have of bringing our message to you at home is to use the station and the equipment which is already in place here. So while at times for those of you who have said, I will make a commitment to KPBS, who have already pledged, well, bear with us. It's important that we get the message out. This is the most cost-effective way of doing it. And by calling 265-1020, you can add to the kind of programming and the kind of television we want to represent us. Now, certainly if we didn't have commercials, breaks like this, well, then we would have a problem, because remember, public broadcasting is founded as the alternative. It is narrowcasting. It is saying there is a select group of people who will enjoy this alternative viewing, the kind of shows that are on here, rather than the kind of ratings game that's played by how many car chases there might be in a particular episode of something, or the tired sitcom format. These are special programs for special people. And if you at home are sitting there and watching right now, then you've got to call 265-1020. That's the number to call as a vote for you and a vote for San Diego and public television. Craig?
Thank you, Mike. You know, a lot of people are interested in how the drive is going, and I can frankly say that we're doing very, very well thanks to the great cooperation of you, the San Diego community. Although we realize that there aren't enough phones for all the people here in San Diego. So if you are receiving a busy signal when you call 265-1020, if you could just jot the phone number down and give us a call when we get back into the program, or at a convenient point during the evening when you can break away and make that phone call. So if you are receiving a busy signal, we are sorry, but there just aren't enough phones here to answer all your calls, and that's great as far as I'm concerned. If you're getting a busy signal, that just means that we're doing very, very well, so we thank you. Again, I'd like to mention that if you can contribute at the $25 basic membership level, or at any level above that, you'll be receiving On Air Magazine, which comes to your home each and every month for 12 months. It gives day-by-day detailed listings of KPBS radio and TV programs, as well as detailed listings and articles about things happening in San Diego, and some detailed information on programs that are produced nationally by the network. Public television, though, is what we're talking about, and we need to be hearing from you, 265-1020.
Come explore the worlds of the National Geographic specials, made possible by a grant from the people at Chevron in support of public television. Join us as the journey continues. Major funding for this 10th anniversary National Geographic Society special has been provided by this and other public television stations.
You've been watching some of the most memorable moments on television in the last decade. Television has helped you share in the mysteries, the beauty of our world. As an actor, I've had first-hand experience of what happens behind the screen to make programs like the National Geographic specials happen. It's hard work, it's complicated, and it's expensive. And that's where you can help, behind the scenes. By making a contribution to this station, your support can make you a part of the memorable moments yet to come here on public television.
The best way to celebrate this 10th anniversary of the National Geographic is with a membership pledge right now to KPBS. Your pledge will help pay for the continued local broadcasts of National Geographic. For 10 years, National Geographic has been TV worth watching. Salute the continuation of this tradition on KPBS. Call now at 265-1020 and pledge $5 or $10 a month to ensure the local broadcast of the National Geographic in the coming year. Thank you.
Come explore the worlds of the National Geographic Specials, made possible by a grant from the people at Chevron in support of public television. Join us as the journey continues. Major funding for this 10th anniversary National Geographic Society special has been provided by this and other public television stations.
If you were with us earlier this evening and you've been following this National Geographic program from the beginning, you know that we surpassed our goal for the afternoon, which was 220, and we were well over 300 for the afternoon. Well, we're starting a whole new evening round, and we've got a whole new goal, and hopefully we can encourage you to call now at 265-1020. The past 10 years of National Geographic, wasn't that a spectacular program? And we're looking forward to 10 more years at least from the National Geographic folks. But it's you who makes that possible. It's people like you who watch this program on a regular basis, that contribute to public broadcasting, that make programs of a tremendous cost to produce available to the San Diego community. Call now, will you, at 265-1020. If you can, join the KPBS stations at a higher level of membership. Perhaps $10 a month is within your income range. We have a very interesting premium. It's The Living Planet. And it's been written by David Attenborough. It's a very, very interesting book, and if you're into the work of David Attenborough, this will be an exciting volume to add to your library, your own personal library. It's The Living Planet by David Attenborough, and it's yours at $10 per month or $120 a year contribution to KPBS if you can afford it. Perhaps you can only afford the $25 level of membership to KPBS. That's fine. We just need to be hearing from you now to ensure that a fine program series like the National Geographic Specials continue here on KPBS. We can urge you right now to go to the phone, 265-1020. I'd like to thank again very, very much the El Cajon Youth Council for coming here and answering the phones for us all afternoon. They've been a most delightful group to have in the studio, and they've done a very fine job of answering your phone calls all afternoon long. So we want to say thank you very, very much to the El Cajon Youth Council for some fine work on the phones this afternoon. We surpassed our afternoon goal. What more can we ask? Well, we've got a brand new goal of 350 members this evening, and we do need to be hitting that, even though we surpassed the one this afternoon. As I mentioned before, the excellence in programming is dictated by how those phones ring behind you. We're in a critical point right now where we're deciding what programs to buy for public television for the upcoming year. The more dollars we have, obviously, the finer programs you're going to see this upcoming year. So if you can, call now, 265-1020, and I believe Mike has some more for you. Mike?
Craig, thank you very much, and I think you pointed out very much there at the opening, but let's take a graphic look at this, that this evening, starting at 7 o'clock, or with this break really going through this evening, it has been figured out by those more knowledgeable than us on a basis that we need 350 new memberships or upgraded memberships here to reach our goals during this kind of quarterly presentation where we stop and say that it is important for you at home to go ahead and pick up the phone. 265-1020 is the number, and it's up to you, the individual sitting there. If you're watching, the reason we're here is to try to reach you this evening as the most cost-effective way we have of bringing that message. If we tried to send out mailers, or if we tried to direct phone response, or any other way, it would cost more money. But here on the air, to make your dollars count, go into the programming side of this station and bring us excellence and quality in our programs. That's what we're trying to do. So bear with us now. 265-1020, that's the number to call. And I'd show you a little kind of premium or inducement that we have there. This is a small key ring here that I've got, and if we take a look at it, for $25 or more, that if you'll charge them, there as you see it, look at it with KPBS inscribed on it, if you'll charge it on your Visa or MasterCard, then it will kind of speed up the transaction from the station standpoint, and to express our appreciation to you, we'll send that to you along with a $25 or more membership level on your MasterCard or Visa. We also have other premiums that we kind of want to use as little inducements, and certainly maybe for those who have done well enough in life to achieve a little higher level of membership, we have a fine book, an encyclopedia of animal things from the kingdom of the Macmillan Press there. And this will be made available for a $20 a month premium. And it's really a fantastic, it's illustrated, it is cross-referenced, it's made more or less on a user's base, so that you can make this kind of a working document for you, showing the interrelationships of different animals and kind of how the wild kingdom fits together there in those different areas. Now, I'd remind you that earlier when I talked about making your dollars work for programming, that I brought up about this being a cost-effective way of reaching you at home. I can also assure you I don't work for the station. I'm not being paid here tonight. I can see that even by the reusing some of the tape here on some of the cables on the floor, that it is cost-effectively used. And the way you take a look at those revenues and how they come in, the most important single factor in the station's success here and the meaning within the community of San Diego is, if you'll take those and kind of percentages, look at that nice pie chart there, see that membership is hitting about 42%. That's where the money comes from. Sure, there's some private kind of foundation grants are given. The school here where the facilities are accounts for some of it. I think that's because of the overhead look. The auction each year brings in 7%. 16% comes from the federal area. But if you take a look at that green area here on St. Patrick's Day, that's the area I want to kind of point out to you. 265-1020 is the number to call. The membership area, that green area on that chart, is you and me at home picking up the phone, going ahead and giving 265-1020 a call and saying, look, I'm going to make membership-supported television here in San Diego work, and I like this kind of programming. This is what I'm looking for. 265-1020. Craig?
Thank you, Mike. You know, for those of you folks that perhaps have been interested in that Living Planet book by David Attenborough, just for your information, tonight, coming up next here on KPBS, The Living Planet, A Portrait of the Earth, of course, David Attenborough's series here on KPBS. And if you had your copy of On Air magazine, you'd know full well that David Attenborough is going to be in South Georgia this evening, and he's going to be looking at some organisms that defy gravity. And I know that because it's listed in detail here in the KPBS program guide. We'll be looking at parachuting spiders and flying frogs. And he'll also be looking at an albatross and an 11-foot, the albatross with an 11-foot wingspan. Well, this is an interesting program. Also, you'll know that tonight, following that, is Nature, followed by Masterpiece Theater, The Jewel in the Crown. Exciting programming, and it comes your way because of you. It's because of your membership dollars that bring this kind of programming. And if you can donate, the On Air magazine, of course, is yours, coming once a month. And, of course, that's always something to look forward to each month as we give you day-by-day detailed listings of the programs here on KPBS. If you can donate at the $5 a month level or $60 per year, we have something that we've been finding very amusing. It's a book that is starting to look a little bit tattered here in the studio, because almost everyone who stepped in here has been paging through this incredible book, The Marvels of Animal Behavior. It's a very interesting volume, and that can be yours if you can donate right now to $60 per year level or $5 a month. And let me remind you that you can do that on your Visa or MasterCard or on the KPBS Checks plan, which is a direct transfer of funds electronically from your checking account to the account of KPBS. And, of course, those two methods provide us with a little bit more of that money that you send along instead of sending it on mailings and the like. So if you can do that, please do call 265-1020. I'd also like to mention some of you folks that have been calling have been providing us with some challenges to some other people, and a very special one that we received is from the Chula Vista Firefighters, Local 2180. And they're located, of course, in Chula Vista, but Captain Joe Ring has challenged any other firefighters in the San Diego County area to become members of the KPBS station. So if you're out there and you're a firefighter, please do call now, 265-1020, and make Joe Ring happy by fulfilling his challenge to public broadcasting. Also, let me remind you that we do have underwriting support from time to time from corporations throughout San Diego. And this particular evening's underwriting support, the broadcast costs have been paid for in part by Hohen Motors, Mercedes, Oldsmobile, Honda, Maserati, located in Car Country, Carlsbad, I-5 at Palomar Airport Road. And we want to thank the fine people at Hohen Motors for helping support some of the programming that you see here on KPBS this evening. And we definitely thank them for that. And we want to thank you for making our phones ring. 265-1020 is the number that you need to dial. And if you can right now, as we mentioned, if you're thinking about it, if you don't do it now, chances are you're not going to. So please, make it now and make it happen for KPBS. 265-1020. Mike?
Thank you, Craig. You know, if we take a look at our goal there, we see that we're trying to reach 350 there for the evening, and currently we only have 51 calls. And you can see around me the El Cajon Civic Youth Organization here. Mayor Reaver let them come in tonight. Now we're going to lose them in a little bit here because of curfew laws and having to work late kind of things. We thank them for their presence, but we also want to say at home that as the evening goes on here, we're going to have to reach that goal, 350 calls. That's what's minimally necessary here for a membership level and to sustain the station at its current level. But even more than that, I want to urge San Diego here that I brought up a little while ago, the analogy of saying that in the city of Pittsburgh being considered as the best place to live in the country, one of the things there is WQED, which is there in that city, has a lot of support from its community. So if America's finest city here, 265-1020 is the number to call. $25, very basic membership level. On-air magazine here is available. We'll send that. That's a guide to listing of the programs there. Right now, we have these little pledge sheets here that are with us. They'll be filled in. All the operator's going to do is really ask your name, your phone number, how you want to make your payments. But it is critical that you pick up the phone. 265-1020 is that number, and KPBS needs the calls. 265-1020. We thank you for that this evening, and we'll be here and we'll remain on here as we're going to begin our next program in just a few moments. 265-1020 is the number.
Help KPBS and David Attenborough continue to explore all the corners of the living planet. If you call in your membership to KPBS tonight, you'll be helping do that. Your membership dollars make programs like The Living Planet possible. Won't you please make a pledge now so that extraordinary programs of this quality can continue to be broadcast on KPBS? Call now, 265-1020. A volunteer operator will take your pledge right now.
The Living Planet is made possible by a grant from Mobil Corporation, which invites you to join with them in supporting public television.
For a 16-page full-color viewer's guide to The Living Planet, please send $1 to WGBH Living Planet Viewer's Guide, Box 2222, Southeastern Massachusetts, 02375.
A fascinating ride in a hot air balloon with The Living Planet and David Attenborough. We do hope that you enjoyed that program. If you did, as we say over and over, there's a great way to let us know about it. Call us at 265-1020, 265-1020, and become a supporting member of KPBS Television, and do it tonight before you forget. I'm Mike Burnett, and Pat Finn is with me. We have the Mike and Pat show today or the Pat and Mike show for St. Patrick's Day. Thank you for being part of the KPBS viewing family tonight. We hope that you will become a part of the KPBS member family as well. This is family viewing. This is family programming of the very highest caliber, and we do a great deal of it here at KPBS. If you think that this is an important thing for your family to be able to see, programs like The Living Planet and like National Geographic and Nova and Nature and all the other good family programming that we do, and the nature programming, the science programming, you call and let us know. 265-1020. Pledge $5 a month, $10 a month, so that we can keep on bringing you programming just like this. The vast bulk of our money comes from people just like you, our viewers, our members. 265-1020, and we will make it as convenient as possible for you to become a member tonight. You can charge it, you can put it on the checks plan, and lots of other easy ways to do it, but it all starts with that phone call. Get up and make that phone call now. 265-1020, 265-1020. If you can jump in and support this television station at the rate of $10 per month, we have a very special gift for you. And if you have enjoyed the program you just see, I think you're really going to see the value of this gift as well. This is perhaps one more nudge to get you a little closer to that telephone. It's David Attenborough's book, The Living Planet, and it is the springboard for the television series. It is filled with color pictures. We've showed you the insides of this a number of times through the course of festival here, and it is almost impossible to open up that book and not hit a page of gorgeous color photography, just picture after picture, and of course very well-written text as well, and it's a nicely produced volume. $10 per month for The Living Planet. That pledge, of course, over the course of a year, and the book is yours as a thank you from us at KPBS. We want to get your support any way we possibly can, and if that book will inspire you to make the call, well, we are more than happy to give you that book as a gift tonight. We have had a lot of help putting this together tonight and through the various evenings. Among the people who has helped